So now we're going to talk about a functionality in Salesforce known as email to case. And there's two different flavors of email to case. There's regular email to case, and then there's something known as on-demand email to case. Now I want to show you a help article that's helpful in knowing the difference between the two. And if you click on help for this page from the intro page for email to case, you can bring up this help article. And I'll link to this article as well in the resources folder of this lecture. And so one thing I really want to highlight though, and just pause and really point out, because I think that this is going to be on your exam, I can almost guarantee this, is the different business case between these two and understanding the difference between them. And so the email to case functionality keeps email traffic inside your network's firewall and accepts emails larger than 25 megabytes. On-demand email to case keeps email traffic outside your network's firewall, and it refuses emails larger than 25 megabytes. So usually in a corporate environment, you deal with just the basic email to case, and that's things that are inside of your company's firewall where you accept it to an email address. So for example, if you worked for Google, it would be myname@google.com. They would have a network firewall set up with their email servers, and you would only be able to accept emails and convert those to cases if it's coming into like support@whatever.com. On-demand email to case, it's traffic outside of your network's firewall, and it doesn't let you, accept really large emails. And so you just need to keep track of the differences between those two, and you'll thank me when you take the test because you're probably going to see something related to this on there. And so now a little higher level information on what these two are is that email to case, it uses an agent on your machine, and on-demand email to case uses Salesforce Apex email services. Now we're not going to go into building Apex email services in this course. That is more of an advanced developer function, something you'd find and be expected to do once you're at the level of being like a Developer One certified Salesforce developer, for example. But I want you to become familiar with the information on this page and knowing the difference between these two. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up email to case now, and then we're going to look at on-demand email to case here in a little bit. So some of the key features though of email to case is that customer responses regarding a case are automatically associated with the original case. So we're going to set up an email address, and then if you send emails to that email address, it automatically creates a case, is how this works in Salesforce. And then if the customer sends follow-up responses or we email out to them and they respond back, all of that activity is automatically associated with the original case. It's pretty cool how this works. I'll show you how it does. And then you can include any attachments that the customer needs. And then as well, case reporting measures both inbound and outbound emails by case, so that you can see how many emails are exchanged before an issue is resolved. So you can also tie this into analytics to see case resolution times and number of interactions in order to resolve cases. Routing addresses allow you to create multiple email addresses from which the contents of customer emails can be converted to case fields. So not only can you have cases created automatically, but you can also have certain fields pre-populated in the case being pulled in from the email. And then finally, assignment rules, escalation rules, workflow rules, and auto response rules all work seamlessly with email to case. I'm going to go ahead and not check this so that I can see this again later, and I encourage you to do the same in case you want to find this help page. You don't want this page here to disappear. And so in order to not lose this link, I'm going to leave this unchecked and click continue. And we're going to start the process of setting up email to case. And here's more details on the configuration of email to case settings, and it's saying for on-demand email to case, here's some things to keep in mind. And for regular email to case, you'll need to download the email to case agent from the Apex Developer Network, install the agent behind your network firewall, configure email routing addresses, and then enable email to case. Now we're actually not really able to demonstrate this in a free developer account very easily. I don't have my own network firewall set up. This would be hard for you to replicate as well. So we're actually going to be doing the on-demand email to case instead. And this is where we're going to define email addresses on our email system for case submissions and create the email routing addresses and go from there. So we're going to click edit here, but before I do that, I want to show you the on-demand service. It says on-demand email to case enables your organization to automatically create cases from email without having you download and install the email to case agent behind your network's firewall. So the email to case agent is a local application that runs on your email server inside of your network's firewall. And that usually involves IT help, and that's usually with larger Salesforce instances that have a lot of security considerations. As I mentioned, we're not able to adequately demo that, and so we're going to do the on-demand service here, and we're going to click at it and then check this enable on-demand service. I'm going to click edit. So I'm going to first enable email to case, and I'm going to check to notify case owners on new emails, and I'm also going to enable HTML email. And now I'm going to select enable on-demand email service. This note here says that you have to have email to case enabled before you can enable the on-demand service. And then for failure response settings, over email rate limit action, you can bounce or discard or requeue, and unauthorized sender action, we're just going to leave those the defaults of bounce and discard and click save. And so now we've enabled email to case in our org and enabled on-demand service for email to case. And so next we are going to specify a routing address. So we're not going to select Outlook. That would be more related to if we had an Outlook email server. We're just going to leave the email to case designation here and click new. All right, so we're going to enter the routing name. And for this, I'm just going to call this main. This is the main routing for email to case. And then we're going to enter in an email address. So you can enter in your own email address here. And then for the email settings, I'm going to save the email headers. And then you can also specify where you're going to accept emails from. And if you leave this blank, you'll receive email from any email address or domain, or you could get specific with specific domains or email addresses. I'm going to leave this blank in order to accept email from any domain, basically. You can also set up to create tasks from emails. You can select this checkbox to automatically assign a task to the case owner when an email is submitted as a case. And then if you do that, you need to select a task status. I'm going to leave that blank. And then for the case owner, I'm going to set myself as the default case owner here, and it's a user search, and so I'm going to make sure that I'm able to pull myself up and search. And then the case priority, we're going to default that to medium, but you could have email to case default to low or high instead. Case origin, we're going to select email, and this is where we'll automatically have email populated in the case origin field on the case when it comes in as an email to case. And then for case record type, we're going to select email. And now you can begin to see why we've created some of these record types for these interaction channels and these support processes previously. You begin to see how all this weaves together. So I'm going to click save. And so there's a note here that the email routing address will not be activated until it's verified. You must verify this email address to ensure system security. Clicking save sends an email to the specified address with directions on how to verify the change. So I'm going to click OK. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to verify this email address. And so it says that Salesforce has automatically created the following email service address for you, and it has a big, long email address. This email services address is a unique email address that is on the Salesforce domain. And so instead of it being a email on your own domain, is an actual new email address that Salesforce automatically sets up. They send you an email to confirm at your email address that you specified, and then you need to verify that. And so I'm going to check my email in order to verify my address. So here's my email, and all I got to do is I need to click this link in order to verify my email routing address. So I click that, and so then I get this notification that my email has changed. Thank you for verifying the email routing address. The email routing address is now verified. If I click continue, it takes me back into Salesforce. I'm in Lightning Experience, and it just takes me back to my service console. So what I'm going to do, let me close this and close this, and let me go back here. So now I'm going to click verify here, and it should tell me that I've verified this email address. So then with the email routing address verification showing as verified, we can click continue. And so let me close this out. And so now that we've set up email to case in our org, and as a reminder, we've set up on-demand email to case, and so we can only receive emails into our Salesforce org that are 25 megs or smaller, and these are emails that are coming into an email address that is outside of our network firewall. And the difference between this is, on-demand email to case is easier for me to demo and for you to follow along with, and then email to case, the regular email to case, is inside of your network firewall agent. This requires you to download and install the email to case agent on your local machine to turn emails into cases. And then there's these other limits here as well. So now in the next lecture, now that we've set up email to case in Salesforce, Next, we're going to look at adding emails related lists to case page layouts.